Okay, let's do a couple more calculations dealing with our order of arithmetic operations. Here's one. We're going to multiply 7 times, in parentheses, the grouping negative 10 plus 1 divided by 5 minus 2 minus negative 1. So, how should we handle it? Well, of course, we do any calculations that occur in parentheses first. So in our parentheses, of course, we have the fraction right here of negative 10 plus 1 divided by 5 minus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry out this operation, and we're going to use the division bar as actually another grouping. So within this grouping, we have to do anything that comes above the division bar first that we can simplify. So we're going to take negative 10 plus 1 to get negative 9. And then we do whatever comes below the fraction bar separately. And of course, 5 minus 2 is 3. We're subtracting negative 1 right here. Subtracting negative 1. But we haven't done anything with that parenthesis yet. Now we divide inside this parenthesis right here. One more calculation shows us that we're going to take 7 times negative 9 divided by 3. That divides evenly as negative 3 minus negative 1. Well, there are no exponents to handle right here, so we go to multiplication or division as they occur from left to right next. Here, the only multiplications that are going to occur are 7 and negative 3, giving us negative 21, minus negative 1. Well, a minus, a negative, is the same thing as addition. We're going to change that into plus 1. And so when we combine negative 21 plus 1, we get negative 20 as our result. Well, let's try one more. This is a little bit more complicated looking, but hopefully not so bad. We've got a couple of groupings going on right here, so how do we work? Well, when there are more than one parentheses work together, we work from the inside to the outside. So always work inside to outside when it comes to parentheses, especially multiple parentheses like this. And our innermost parenthesis right here, we've got 6 minus 4. It looks like inside. So we're going to start with the quantity of negative 6 being divided by, in the parentheses, 6 minus 4, which is 2, squared, close the parenthesis, minus, and then we've got the quantity negative 12 times positive 4. What comes next? Negative 6 divided by negative 2, or negative 6 times negative 2 squared. We need to do our exponents next. So we're going to do inside this parenthesis, we're going to be taking negative 6, and we're going to be dividing it not by 2, but by 4. All right. Well, that's not going to divide evenly, so we're going to need to figure out what to do. But we're still inside of the parentheses, so any work that must be done inside the parentheses, we need to do. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to take this right here. I'm going to get a little asterisk. I'm going to put this off to the side. What happens if I take negative 6 and divide it by 4? Well, I know that negative 6 does not divide evenly by 4, so I can rewrite it as a fraction, negative 6 divided by 4. And one way of handling this problem is to rewrite the fraction in simplified form. So we're going to rewrite this as negative 3 halves. Now we could also write this as negative 1.5 if we wanted to put it in decimal form, but we're going to demand here at NAPS that you get used to using fractions. Put it as a fraction. So we're going to be taking negative 3 halves minus, and it's going to be the negative quantity, negative 12 times 4. Well, negative 12 times 4, what is that? Negative 12 times 4. Negative 12 times 4, because it's a negative times a positive, becomes negative 48. So we're going to be taking negative 3 halves minus the quantity negative 48. And it turns out that whenever we're subtracting a negative, it's the same thing as addition. So we're going to be taking negative 3 halves here plus 48 as our next order of operations. Well, how do we get those two together? Well, one isn't a fraction, the other one is, right? Well, in fact, they're both fractions because we're taking negative 3 halves plus 48 over 1. And because we've got two fractions, anytime we add fractions, we get a common denominator. So that means we're going to take our second fraction and give it a common denominator of 2. So we would be adding 3 halves plus 48 times 2. Well, let's see, 48 times 2. I know 50 times 2 is 100, but we're going to be taking away from that. So this is actually 96 over 2. And when we combine the numerators over the common denominator of 2, 96 minus 3, that gives us 93. And as with most fractions, we ask that you leave it in improper form like this. So there you go. Stop. Nothing else to do.